Hey, what is going on YouTube? Hey, Ron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the USS Tulsa, the most recent Tier 8 campaign ship to come to Legends. And guys, if you saw any of the screenshots or on my Discord, you know that this game turns into an absolute... I mean, this will probably be the XP record for some time. I had this game very shortly after the Salem game yesterday, but decided to wait until today to post it. A little bit tired, but just a lot on my plate, dealing with fleets and all that stuff as well. But guys, I really enjoy this ship. I truly think it's pretty good. Now, I will say, for comparison's sake, I'd probably take the Salem over this thing, but just watch this game, guys. If I'm being honest, I was actually watching a little bit of Chili's stream and just kind of nonchalantly playing. The game just unfolds into just in one of my highest XP totals ever. But regardless of that, this is a good ship. It does suffer in the DPM department. You only have 6 guns, but they are 203 auto loaders. This is basically like a slim Des Moines. For my gun guys out there, this is basically like a compact to the full size. I know a lot of my gun guys are going to get that reference, but it is an American heavy cruiser. Now, I want to preface this. A lot of this, these videos of the Salem and things like that. 3 of my 5 most played ships are American cruisers. So I am an American cruiser pro. I think I can say that now after potentially getting 2 XP records in one day. Somebody said that my Salem one was broke, but that makes sense because Salem is just nuts in itself. But so I want you guys to taper your expectations just a little bit. Don't expect to get games like this right off the rip, but she still is a very good package. Decent armor. The armor is actually a little bit better than Salem's. You can angle that belt much better. The AP, besides only having 4 guns to bow tank with, is still very good, and the HE, with that rate of fire, is pretty good as well. Getting into the gameplay a little bit, and as always, stats and commander guide at the end. I will timestamp them down below if you just want to skip to that, but I recommend staying for this video. The strategy for American heavies is getting your nose as close as you can to the nearest cap and kind of utilizing island cover. Now, on some maps, it's very difficult to do so. You have to kind of get into unique positions, but here on Riposte, these central islands are just perfect. The enemy team is very aggressive on A. You can see that Kronstadt and Alaska pushing there. There's a Yamato also 10 kilometers from us, and we don't know it at the time, but there's actually a destroyer there as well. So we have a lot on this northwesterly flank here near A, but what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the strategies and tools available to us. We don't want to radar just yet. We don't know what we're getting into. Our friendly destroyer actually got B, which is a huge help. There's a few people that play pretty well in these games, and that is just what I preach often, guys. Teamwork, right? I didn't win this game alone. Even though I got an incredible score, I did a lot. I didn't do it alone, and that's what some people just refuse to realize. They like, oh, Division's cheating solo, whoa. You are never winning any game 1 versus 9. Now, sometimes it feels like 1 versus 17, like it did tonight on stream, but regardless of that, here we're going to go ahead and back up. We were utilizing that nose trick like we talked about to get a few shots on that Yamato. But that was before the Alaska and Kronstadt came around the corner. Now, we do have a Schlieffen to our left here. You can see his fireworks display going off. I'm not exactly sure why he didn't really push in. If the Schlieffen pushes in here, I think we win this game even sooner, and I don't get the record. So thank you for not pushing in. But in the moment, I was wondering why he didn't. The Schlieffen, this is what the Schlieffen is made for. The torpedoes, the secondaries, a little bit of the armor, and the hydro. But like we said, that Alaska popped around the corner as well as the Kronstadt. So we want to get those 2 threats off the board, right? The Alaska is a radar cruiser. Not only that, the Alaska has improved AP pen, I'm pretty sure, and just a nasty salvo of AP that we do not want to sit on our broadside. The reason I radar here is we were not getting any resets on the Alaska, nor was the Yamato getting reset. So we go ahead and pop the radar here. It's kind of a waste, if I'm being honest. I hate when I see other players radar for no reason, but what it could have potentially done is allowed the Schlieffen secondaries to be available to hit the Shima here. So sometimes, just getting vision of things is necessary, and one could argue that running fully packed would have been better here, but I like refill station. I like my DPM, especially on a ship that loses potentially 1/3 of her DPM. Here we get a final fire on that Alaska, though, and he goes down. As we already ticked our first reload epic mod, we are not running the legendary mod, although it would have been nice to. especially towards the end of this game, but it works out. It works out just fine. Our enemy destroyer got torpedoes on that Kronstadt, so I was trying to set him on fire again. You also notice I'm using overview camera again. Why? Because there are battleships and other cruisers behind me that I do not want to crossfire me here. I am in a fairly safe position, but if they are able to lob me from that side and I'm detected, well, I am just SOL. You have a fairly weak broadside, so you do not want to get caught on the side. Here, again, we're utilizing that trick. We're getting the resets. Because of our radar or because of other circumstances, that Shima left the base. But you guys can see to our right, we have a Ruprecht coming, and that is a much bigger problem. We actually get a little bit lucky. Again, the game is a combination of luck, skill, RNG, all of that. Mainly positioning, but the reason I say that is that was a Des Moines lobbing us. He did hit us a little bit high, but if he would have switched to AP, he could have potentially chunked us for a little bit more. I prematurely popped the heal here as well as the damage con. I should not have done that with this Ruprecht coming, but we're going to play a little bit of ring around the rosy here. You can see I'm playing with the throttle. He's also looking and shooting at somebody else, but because we have our target indicator, we know he's targeting us, or at least one ship is. So what I was thinking here is I'm going to go forward, beach against this island, hopefully get him to either waste his torpedoes. In the meantime, though, we shot the rear turret. Well, now all turrets are clearing, but we shot the rear turret in hopes to get him to shoot. He did. He overpenned our stern section. We're safe from the Citadel. We actually get a pretty gnarly salvo on his nose there. I wasn't expecting to get that much, but American AP is just American AP. Here we dodge the one set of torps. I should have started going forward just a little bit sooner. He launches the second set. He double fires with his secondaries. We get a little bit lucky that he only gets us with one, or maybe two, I'm not exactly sure, but he got us with at least one torp, floods us, but we have our damage con back. And we're sitting pretty. We got 2 kills, 96,000 damage, but when you look up at the scoreboard, you realize what just happened. Our team imploded. But if you see the clickbait, or if you saw the screenshot, I'm just getting started. We popped the radar here. We knew that Shima was in the cap. Now, this is a little bit of a risky play. We were hydro down, but because our last known was right towards that island and we weren't going out this way, it is very unlikely that the Shima had time to torp this way, considering his position. Here is a little bit of a potato, just salvo. And again, this is where you pay for a little bit in terms of your DPM and overall number of guns. I missed a few shots there. Now, the Shima was dodging, and it is kind of hard to hit with American shells. They're a little bit slower in velocity. And here, I don't know how I didn't kill him. 3-2 hit, and I keep the cursor on, and they go high. That is the loss of auto lock or target lock, which usually sends shells high when you lose that lock. But anyway, I decide we're going to push in. That Des Moines is bow tanking our 2 cruisers in sea, and thank goodness that the enemy battleship was not in position to crossfire them, because those 2 held up fairly well. I have to give a lot of credit to our friendly Des Moines. He kind of saved this game for me. But anyway, we're going to push into A here. Why? Because the Shima is hurting. If I can just get one salvo on him. Now, we are hydro down. Ideally, I would have liked to have hydro. Ideally, I would have killed him with radar, but regardless, he beached into that island forward, so he's going to have to take time to reverse. I switched to the APY because I see that Des Moines is broadside, and there is the Shima popped up. The AP is still going to do damage on the Shima. Good night. Thanks for playing, sir. And yes, here we go. Des Moines broadside. On top of that, we are now in the cap, flipping this cap for the points lead. I'm going to be quite honest as we dodge the Shima salvo there. Always turn away or, into torps, basically. I don't know why that first salvo wasn't like that salvo, but regardless, we still get the Citadels there, and with our DPM and our epic reload mod at 8x4, we are just spitting out shells. The base reload is 4.3, and that is kill number 4. In the meantime, though, we actually did rack up about 10 defends, and we are now getting a solo cap. But that Des Moines or another ship actually killed I think it was an Alaska or the other cruiser in there. And if you look at that, our friendly Des Moines' health, he is pretty low. So we have quite the task ahead of us. 2 ships left, one of which being a Conqueror and the other a gearing. So I tell this Des Moines to get back, and this is the point I was trying to make earlier. The Des Moines listens. He doesn't blindly run into a destroyer and a conqueror, which can overmatch him. The conqueror doesn't even have to overmatch him. The HE shells from the conqueror could probably kill him in one salvo, even if he's angling. But there is that conqueror. The Des Moines is running. Now, it is nice that the Des Moines was spotting this conqueror, and he does a good job of dodging. So just thank you. Be a team player, right? If this Des Moines was not a team player, I probably lose this game. Now what I'm doing here is I'm trying to utilize that island cover as we tick the high caliber there and get a fire on that conqueror. Now I'm going to be honest, I wanted the follow-up fire here, but I cannot take a broadside from conqueror, HE or AP. We finally max out our reload, so we're spitting out shells pretty fast here. You can look at the reload. It's pretty low there, so the 4.3 base as we tick the Confederate medal. So we've done a lot, right? We've hit 6 ships, we've done a third of the team's damage, but we still got some more work to do. You can see that the Conqueror's actually shooting AP. And again, I wanted to get that permanent fire. He's on damage con. I don't know why players put out 1 fire, but regardless, we also don't know if the Conch has a super heal. Right now, I could probably take him. It's a gamble whether I get overpenned or citadeled or, we get overmatched by his AP, but sometimes if you throw the right angle, and like I said, this thing's armor, which we'll go over in the end, is actually pretty decent if you angle it. I asked for intelligence data, and I'm guessing that the Des Moines sonar just came on, so he popped his sonar, and there were the torpedoes, which tells me the gearing is probably pretty close. The only angle he could get those torpedoes up from is in the cap. We also look at the capture, the cap, and it looks like it's ticking pretty fast here. That's when the Des Moines radars. I think he just got it back, and that is when we see the gearing. The Conqueror has not healed yet, so we're going for it. The Conqueror was on damage con, so we're going to push it here. I go ahead and pop my Hydro just so the gearing can't go dark, and thank goodness I did, because there are his second set of torps. We get a little bit lucky. 1 or 2 pins pop into our superstructure or our mid-belt there. And I'm thinking, okay, in this moment, I'm like, all right, take out the gearing, right? Take out the gearing. The Conqueror was on damage con, and we lit him on fire. Now he's probably coming back. His damage con's probably coming back soon. We get the gearing for the Kraken, kill number 5, and immediately switch to the Conqueror. I decide to turn broadside here. Why? I get more DPM. Now you may have think this is a mistake, but we get more DPM, and the Conqueror actually overpens. Double strike. Good night. Thanks for playing.
I am good, Rooster. I'm very good.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to throw that one in there. And also one more, but real quick, I just want to show you guys that final shot. It looks like the Conqueror auto-aimed or whatever, but he hit my stern plating, and I got lucky with overpen. So you live by RNG, you die by RNG. But yeah, I pretty much felt like this afterwards.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Sorry, guys. I had to for that game. It was an absolutely epic replay. If you guys know Pete Weber, you're a real one. +5 points. But here is the final damage total. Not too much damage, but we got a Confederate Dreadnought actually. But the XP 4735, nearly closing in on 5K. That's got to be one of my top XP totals. And currently the Tulsa XP record, so hopefully it holds for at least more than a day. Here we have the stats of the Tulsa, though. The survivability, you saw it in the game, is 42,700, and we used pretty much all of it. The guns, 3x2, 203 autoloaders, 15.4 base range, which is decent. You don't need much more than that. And the reload, just look at that, 4.3 with the turret traverse. Now, we are running Einstein, so we're helping that reload as well as that turret traverse. That is the weakness of the American cruisers, mainly the heavies. The AA is all right. The long range is not that great. I did get focused earlier by a carrier and got a clear sky, so it's okay. The maneuverability is a little bit worse than Salem. It's still decent, though, especially with propulsion mod. Don't be expecting to run an agile build on this thing. It would do all right, but probably not the best. Detectability is a strength 10.7. That is a good bit lower than the Salem there and ships of the similar class. So with Beepley, you could probably get it even lower. Here are the consumables: sonar, 3.3 of torpedoes, 4.7 of ships. Standard 9-kilometer radar, but it's got 35 seconds. With intuitive, you get that little extra few seconds there for 36 total. The repair party is average. We popped ours a little bit early, so probably wasted a touch of that repair, but it's not, nothing like the Salem. So with that super heal. Here we have our modules, standard modules for me: aiming systems, propulsion, concealment, and the epic reload mod. We do not have this upgraded. I'm running out of steel, and you can kind of move them with the balloons. It's only 25 to move them, but just be aware, do not sell them. We will have a video coming out on those. This does help your reload, so we did get, like I said, a blistering reload there at the end. And as always on all of our American cruisers, mainly the heavies, Mr. Einstein himself. Ingenious, which is a good perk. It allows you to see how many people are targeting so you can know. On top of that, in the base trait, you get that turret traverse down pretty well. Intuitive is another great one. It allows you to see where the nearest ship is. That is that half gray circle on my screen. It tells you the nearest ship. On top of that, we have punch through, which is always good for the American AP, and fixated to clean up a little bit of that accuracy. I also run refill station, not fully packed. I mean, Eyesight doesn't have it, but fully packed with Scott. I just think refill station is better in my opinion. Yeah, that extra radar is nice when you need it, but utilize your radars. You can also run Scott. I know a lot of people say pay to win, and I do have all of those commanders maxed out. I had Madden and Mimbelli on there as well, but Scott will do just fine, and whatever inspirations you want. Here we've got the armor viewer for the armor of the Tulsa. It's not that great, but it's a little bit better than the Salem. You have a pretty low citadel on the front. Now it is kind of high in the midboard there, but as long as you angle pretty well, and you have a decent front plate, I think it's 152 or something. So if you angle at about this angle here, you can bounce shells off that citadel. Now you will still be getting penetration and overpen damage, but as you see, it's a lot better to get that overpen damage than that citadel. So make sure you're always protected. And again, utilizing island cover. The battleship mains are going to cry, as they always do, about everything. But if you're utilizing that island cover, you are able to support your team. They never cry when you're on your team, but they always cry when you're against you. Reloader, sticky shot, and hidden, guys, and that is the USS Tulsa. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. I really appreciate you guys. Probably some more videos of me being back to normal, not setting records coming soon. We're going out of town this week, but I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, comment down below. It all helps the algorithm. Have a great day, guys. I'm out. Peace.